So when I was here in college, I studied psychology, and I scored below average marks, mostly because my teacher hated me. But see, when a teacher hates you and you score less marks, whose fault is that? So when you're in an office environment and someone else gets a job promotion ahead of you because they are good at sucking up to their boss, laughing at their jokes, being nice to them, inviting them to parties, whose fault is that? Is it your fault? Because you can learn to be more likable. You can go to your teacher every day and be like, ma'am, how are you? You can also go to your office boss and be nice to him and learn how to play the networking game, right? Or is it their fault? Because they are in a position of power, so they need to be objective and not be biased. The truth is, the answer is somewhere in the middle. Both of these things can be somewhat right and somewhat wrong at any given time. How you decide to evaluate this situation in your head is what decides your decisions. And ultimately, that's what shapes your life. Too many big words I said off, or what? Okay, I'll explain, don't worry. See, the thing is, in your life, if you use an approach of what can I do to make this situation better, that's called an internal locus of control. And if you are someone who thinks it was bad luck, it was because it was Tuesday this happened, because the Pisces and Aries, that's why, then you're someone who has an external locus of control. Locus of control, I have a definition here, so I'm going to read it. Locus of control is a psychological concept that refers to the extent to which people believe they have control over the events that affect their lives. There are two types of locus of control, internal and external. The reason I'm reading, I did not get good marks in psychology. My argument is, it is always better to have an internal locus of control. It is always better to have an approach of, what can I do to make this situation better? If your teacher hates you, become more likable. If that doesn't work, study so hard and so well that your hard work outweighs their hate, right? These are two solutions to the same problem, but with what you can do at the core of it, right? What I'm saying might feel like yeah, I know this is not new information, but I said big words, so that should count for something. The problem today I have seen, as I have now unfortunately grown older, is that when I look at social media, I see social media giving you a lot of excuses for your current state of affairs. My point is, the world is always going to give you an excuse for not being successful. Don't take it. Because the goal of every social media is to make sure you spend as much time as you possibly can on it. Right? For them, literally, time is money. Right? How they measure this is by something called an average watch time. So you guys watch Reels and YouTube Shorts and TikTok before it got banned. If a video is 60 seconds long and 10 people watch it, once someone watches for 10 seconds, someone watches for 40, for 50, for 60, the algorithms of social media, they'll take an average watch time of how long 10 people have watched the video, and basis that, they rank that piece of content, and basis that, I have a career. That's how it works, right? So ultimate goal of every social media is to make sure you spend your maximum amount of time on it. The CEO of Netflix once said that their primary competition is sleep. That's how badly they want your time and attention. Right? I'll give you an example. I'll give you two images. Tell me which image social media prefers. There's a cute dog. And then there's a comment about Gen Z. They are the hardest working generation. What do you think happens when someone posts something like this? Obviously, this is a mild example because this is TEDx. But if someone posts something like this, the Gen Z hardest working generation, what happens is people like me, people who are older than me, are going to quote tweet that, going to reply to that, and be like, no, you are wrong. Gen Z is lazy. They don't know anything. I'm assuming you are all Gen Z, right? I'm assuming you've heard these things in your life, right? So what does social media prefer? The dog? The dog probably gets a lot of likes. But this increases your time spent on the app. They have a term for it. It's called rage farming. That's why whenever you open social media, it looks like the world is burning. Everything is going to shit. It's because that's their intention. They want to give you that anxiety, so you reshare and be like, this is very important for me to. It is important. I'm not saying it's not. But their goal is always to make sure that you spend your maximum amount of time on it. Twitter is the worst, to be honest, about this. If you spend 30 minutes on Twitter, honestly, you will start thinking the world is ending tomorrow. It's over. There's nothing left. It's over. I should stop studying. Tomorrow, the world is ending. It's over now. But if you think about it more deeply, we are living in very peaceful times. Things are not great. They should be better. We should work towards making them better. But our parents lived through wars, and our grandparents lived through the partition. Things are pretty good. My job is doing stand-up comedy. The world has to be doing very well for a very long time for this to be a legitimate career option. I go up on stage and tell jokes, right? But the thing is, if I tell you don't panic, everything is fine. If social media tells you don't panic, everything is fine. That's not a good hook. You're not going to spend more time if that's the message that you receive, right? Have you guys seen Big Boss? Right? If someone went on Big Boss and said, yeah, hi, my name is Hussain, I'm a normal guy, you'd watch or what? You want some guy to pee in a cup and throw it on someone else. Also, this is not, I don't know if you know this is not a random example. A man literally did this on Hindi Big Boss. Yeah, some of you watch. I wouldn't say yes so loudly. And social media is like Big Boss. They want you to have those reactions. They want you to say something inflammatory to make sure you and your friends and everybody around you spends more time on it. That's why whenever I open social media at least, and I don't know if you have seen this happen on your feeds, there's always a dichotomy. Huh? Dichotomy? Yeah. There's always people in the two extremes. There's always the hustle, mindset, grind set, work hard, don't sleep, only grind kind of people. And on the other side, there's people who heard the name Sigmund Freud once, who come and tell you, take a day off, mental peace. So what if you fail your exams? We are but a speck of dust in this universe. The problem is, you're likely to agree with one or the other mindset, right? And then that allows you to be like, you know what? It's not my fault. That's a terrible mind space to be in. It's not my fault. Because then you're of the mindset that, oh, I can blame this ism or that ism or the climate change for why I'm not doing what I should be doing. Or even worse, blaming yourself. Am I working hard enough? Am I thinking hard enough? That causes anxiety, real problems. Should I be learning about crypto? No, don't. The problem with awareness of mental health is also that it becomes a very easy excuse for people to do but not so nice things, and then you use like a nice fancy term to excuse their behavior. Like, I'm an introvert, or I have an OCD, as an excuse when you don't want to hang out with friends or people you don't like, or when you want to have a fight with your roommate for throwing a chips ka packet on the floor. You can just normally say, I don't like this on the floor. You don't have to say, I have an OCD about cleanliness. You don't have to give yourself that. Or the worst example, blaming all your failures on this new trendy mental health problem, ADHD. That's trending right now. My point here is to say that thinking about things from multiple perspectives is important to arrive at the best one, not the right one, because you never know which perspective is right, to arrive at the best one. If you really think about it, most of the times, the answer is somewhere in the middle. Going back to the school example I was giving, your teacher can hate you because you don't study, and you don't study because your teacher hates you. The answer is in a flux at any given time. So evaluating your life from different perspectives gives you at least more solutions to try out. Because that's how the greatest minds think. They take a problem and they arrive at it from different perspectives to arrive at a solution. You can only control what you can do. If life was a game of cards and you were dealt 3 or 4 cards, you might have heard this expression, play your cards right. If life is a game of cards and you've been dealt 4 cards and everyone around you also has their cards, some of them can have better cards than you. Some of them are born rich, they are better looking, they have higher IQ. But what you can do, instead of blaming or looking at their cards, is look at what you have and try to do the best that you can with what you have. Essentially, that's what I'm trying to say. If you can't score high marks because you're not academically gifted, go get good at something else. We're all playing a game. And we are all playing different games where we are trying to be the best that we can be in that game. The only way to arrive at the right answer is to see how you can affect your situation. The only way that's possible is if you don't allow yourself an easy solution of blaming something or the other. I'll tell you something about myself. I scored very less marks, like I said many times. Because it's not that I didn't try. I studied as hard as I could, but I was just not academically gifted. It is a game, right? And a game that I was not suited for. No matter how hard I tried, it never worked out. My teachers do hate me, that's also true. But even though I studied, it never worked out. After 18 years and 20 plus teachers teaching me, I finally had to arrive to the conclusion, I am stupid. It's the fact. Standing here right now in front of you guys, arriving at that conclusion was very important for me, because viewing my life from that perspective was important where I was then. Because I am stupid, and the reason I chose this topic of discussion, perspective, is because perspective is my job. I'm a stand-up comedian. When I go on stage, all I'm offering you is perspective, a new way to see something you've already seen before. I lived in Mangalore about 4 or 5 years ago, studied here, of course. I was the first art student to be elected president of St. Aloysius College. Yes, I am bragging a little bit. But I was bullied in high school. I didn't have a lot of friends. I stood for election in 9th standard as well, for DSPL, Deputy School Pupil Leader. I lost that election by 300 votes. Only 350 people voted. The moment I realized I can be funny though, my life changed. I got invited to parties, people liked having me around. The realization that I should make this my life came much later. Because when I was in 10th standard, I took science for 11th and 12th. It was a great decision. I scored 78% in 10th, and then in 11th and 12th, I took science, and I worked my everything off. Worked as hard as I possibly could. Before my 12th standard board exams, I took early morning, 5 o'clock chemistry tuitions. I took maths tuitions, extra classes in the evenings. I worked as hard as I could, and I scored 77.8%. 0.2% less than in 10th standard, when I didn't try. And like something you must have already heard, my parents and teachers came up to me for the 100th time and said, without any effort, you got 78. Imagine if you worked hard. From their perspective, until I got 90%, I had not worked hard. But the honest truth I know for myself is that I've worked as hard as I can. This is my limit. This is the extent to which I can score. And that is the realization that I got. And when I came to degree here in St. Aloysius College only, I decided that academics is not going to be my game. I don't this is the worst thing to have to repeat about myself. I'm stupid, I'm stupid, I'm stupid. But I was not academically gifted. So when I came here in degree, I decided to focus my efforts elsewhere. Sports also, not my cup of tea. I do play sports, not very good at it. So I decided that I will participate in every competition that I can. Debate, jam, creative writing. If there was a competition 2 villages far away, where the competition was who can stand on one leg the longest, I would have applied. Because my point was, the classroom is not giving me what I need, so I'm going to go out. That's why I became president, to put in my CV. It's not actually that great a deal. But having these experiences, trying to put myself outside the classroom as much as I could, that's what landed me an internship at The Hindu, where I worked at a newspaper. Because I studied journalism, I had those dreams at one point of time. Then I got an internship at an advertising agency in Mumbai. Then I stumbled into it because of the advertising agency job. I liked advertising. I got an MBA in communication management and brand communication. Big words again. Then from there, stand-up comedy and writing. And now we are here talking to you about something I learned in this college. Now, even though Shalini ma'am didn't let me into the classroom because my record was incomplete, my practical exam, I sat out for 45 minutes. But whose fault was that? I didn't complete my record, right? I have to take blame. I'm still glad, though, that I'm teaching you something I learned in her class. Locus of control. I'm going to reiterate it again. Put yourself in the driver's seat and look at how you can affect your life, because you're moving out from college now. You're in your second years, first years, third years. You have to look ahead. You have to look at what comes next. And the only way to arrive at the right solution is if you can think about where you are and evaluate your life right now to find the best game that works for you. Right? Let's try and do a small example of how to arrive at different perspectives. Like how different perspectives can affect you. Let's try to write a joke. You guys want to write a joke? All right. So let's take a subject. Give me a subject. Economics, college. College, I'm scared right now to say something. Because we are in college. I don't want to upset anybody. Let's say Mangalore. Mangalore, we are all in Mangalore. Right? Let's make a joke about Mangalore, okay? Give me an insight. In Mangalore, what do you know about Mangalore? Mangalore, a lot of students come to Mangalore to study. Okay, relax. I think I should not have opened this box. Relax. Let's say Mangalore, a lot of students come. There's lots of colleges here. KMC, Father Muller's, Aloysius, SDM, so many colleges. Lots of students from lots of places come here to study, right? So what is the first thing someone learns when they come to Mangalore? That's the setup. The first thing you learn when you come to Mangalore is, now we need to give a punchline. A punchline is a perspective. We are saying something, but I want to say something that only Mangaloreans will understand. Let me try this. Not food. Let me try this, okay? People from all over the country come to study in Mangalore, Karnataka. So the first thing you learn when you come here is Malayalam. All I said was the first thing you learn, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? Also be careful, never get into a fight with someone from Kerala. Mostly because if you're in school and you get caught, the principal will call your father, but won't call his. He's in Gulf, no? I'm just jealous. I wish my father was in Gulf. Anyway, I hope this talk reminds you to look at things from different perspectives and helps you form better arguments with your teachers, your essays, and helps you in your essays, and maybe fights with your boyfriends and girlfriends. Most importantly, I hope after this talk you allow yourself to think more clearly about what to do after the college ends and find the right game for yourself. Remember, just like my mom always used to say, it's always your fault. Thank you. My name is Mohammed Hussain. You guys have been great.